The craven cultists vainly fired their belching weapons in all directions, trying to nail down the pirouetting shadows whose movements defied the rigors of gravity. One helpless quarry after another fell, the rancorous cackles of the masked acrobats accentuated by the absurd jingling of bells. The last remaining cultist limped back as the troops surrounded him, and one of the shapes, its leader, approached and spoke in High Gothic.
I thank you for a wonderful show, damned one. But every show needs its part played.
He flourished his gore-spattered blade as his warriors continued their macabre dance.
And yours,
He rumbled.
is the red curtain still to fall?
The Harlequins leapt, and the cultist could not even hear his own scream as laughter filled the empty sky. Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and that's not your fault. So it's been a minute since my last Kit Bash job, that being my Common Raider Amazon tier edits from my first video. I've had a box of Harlequins sitting on tap for a minute and decided they'd be a fun squad to change up. Harlequins are edgy trickster figures waging a guerrilla war against Slaanesh, their very existence a sadistic mockery of their enemy. That's really cool, but my problem is they're a little too cool. I want them to look stupider. I'm talking your deadbeat uncle who used to be in a new metal band circa 2003 where everyone wore evil clown face paint and they thought it was like the most twisted shit they'd ever done, and he still won't shut the fuck up about it when you see him on Thanksgiving. All that being said, you're watching Apollo Geist. Let's dive in and get to making some modifications. I made two primary but I think necessary changes. First, I gave the Harlequins some Pierrot-style clown ruffs, beginning by cutting out the suit collars to make room. I followed Gardens of Hecate's tutorial on this, link in description, but in short, I laid down some green stuff around the neck, nudged them to shape, and then marked out alternating lines with the knife. Then I poked some holes into those alternating lines and blended them out. Like the tutorial mentioned, this is just a lot of back and forth, and mine by no means came out perfect, but I think they look pretty good. Then I did something that is probably sacrilege to some Harlequin players. I nipped off the mohawks and ponytails. Sorry, it's my least favorite thing about the Harlequins. If you think I'm a common soil boy who deserves mockery, I guess you'll just have to let me know in the comments and feed me engagement. Then I did the thing that took the most amount of time, the hats. For most of the models, I did one of those cap and bells hats, but each hat has like a different amount of sleeves. I did this by rolling some cones of varying sizes and sticking them all together. When the sleeves are cured, I added little balls of green stuff as bells. This was actually really tricky to apply without deforming them. What worked best was gently puncturing them with an X-Acto knife, dipping it into a small bead of superglue, and then sticking it on. I got tired of sculpting the cap and bells, so for the remaining two, I gave one of them a conical hat and the other one a fuzzy little ball. I compensated for the lack of headwear in that one by sculpting on some flared out pants. I don't know why, I just felt like it. After everything was cured, I went over the sections of green stuff with watered down layers of matte medium. I find that this fills in lots of the minute pits and imperfections that tend to occur when sculpting with putty. You could probably also just do this with Mod Podge. Now, although I'm making these more clown-like, I'm not quite bozo maxing here either, so no big noses or poofy hair. I actually already had something that served as an inspiration for these kit bashes. Let's talk about that after the jump. Back when I was a wee babe, there was this PS1 game called Micromaniacs that was advertised on the Fox Kids TV block. It was a weird spin-off of Micro Machines, and despite never actually playing the game, I was obsessed with the character designs. One of my favorite characters is the evil clown character Twister. I just really like the simplicity of the colors, and we're going to use that here. After priming one of the models, I threw it into Photoshop to make a digibash, and yeah, looks good. Before I started painting, one of my friends made a suggestion that was too good not to see realized digitally: Nights into Dreams. I did another quick digibash in Nights' colors to see what it looked like. I won't be using this color scheme, but I thought it looked really cool and will definitely be considering it for future minis. If someone wants to beat me to it, knock yourself out. I first started by base coating the minis in a lemon yellow color, a yellow I normally despise and never use, but I thought the greenish tint would contrast better with the other colors. I also knew this color would be a nightmare to get to from any other base coats, so I started with it here. Side note, if you use an airbrush, please wear a respirator. Take care of yourself. Please, just take care of your lungs, take care of your body. Please, thank you. After that, I laid down the stripes using pink. And yes, stripes, because painting diamonds sounded miserable and I didn't want to do it. While it's important to challenge yourself in your hobby, it's also important to recognize that you do it to have fun. There's challenging as in like, wow, haha, damn, that's tricky, but I know it'll look good if I keep trying. And then there's like, this is genuinely really frustrating and for a result I don't even particularly care for. Painting diamonds, it's one of those. If I get any vehicles, I might try it then, but for now, like, nah. I literally made it more clown. It's fine. We're going to be fine. I painted the ruffs with a khaki and then layered on a white. For the dark blue, I was as careful as I could be with a camera in my face, knowing it was going to be a bitch to reapply the yellow or pink if there was cross-contamination. I thought that was going to be the longest part of this paint job, and like a clown, so I was for thinking that. The guns I painted a juicy turquoise, mainly because the gems I colored turquoise too, and weapons are always a good place to offload the minor colors on the main body. Side note, it wasn't until halfway through painting these guys that I realized I'd given this guy 2 right hands. I'm gonna give this mini an epithet like the odd-handed and make it seem like it's intentional, but you know the truth. Just you and me. Our little secret. I blocked out the jingle jangles and swords and metal, and then ventured onto what came to be a 5-hour ordeal, the shading and highlighting. Volumizing the dark blue was fine. Most of it was just adding shadows and highlights to the Troopmaster's Hot Topic trench coat. The real issue came in with the stripes. So conventionally, when you paint patterns like stripes or diamonds onto a model, lots of people shade and highlight the patterns individually. I really didn't want to do this though, so I thought I could cheat using a single glaze made from purple contrast paint. The idea, I'd hoped, was it would shade both colors while still retaining some semblance of their respective hues. I did it, and it looked like shit. It made the yellow and pink stripes completely indistinguishable from each other. I know if I'd tried some other contrast paints or inks, like an orange for example, I probably would have found one that worked, but I had very limited time to get this done and didn't want to spend it experimenting. I bit the bullet and shaded the stripes individually using a purple for the pink and brown for the yellow. The result, in my opinion, looks great, and probably better than what I would have gotten with the mono shading, but holy shit. The shading took about 4 hours across all models, and the highlights thankfully only took about 1 since I was pretty restrained with it. You don't want to over-highlight yellow. I was pretty burnt out by this point, so I tried to chug along and get these freaks done. I painted the gems on all the models, blacklined the weapons, and other parts of the minis where different colored areas met. I was also going to oil wash these minis at the end, but I'm still a little traumatized by what happened with the Amazon Tyranids and decided they looked good enough. Also, I just needed to show this. The troop leader has this Eldari symbol on his lapel, and like, okay, I know it's a lore thing, I know it means something, but I painted it as a little palm tree, okay? Please, guys, I really need this. For my own sanity, my new personal rule for painting bases is to not give a shit. I painted these in off-white, hit them with multiple layers of washes, and that was it. Hey, Shaggy 2 Dope, do you want to see my freaking guys? Okay, let's go.
End result.
This kipash was a lot of fun. The conversion went pretty much how I expected, but the stripe shading was what really proved to be a stress test. The result isn't perfect. The stripes are pretty splotchy and bleed into each other a lot, but this just further reinforces that the diamond pattern would have made me want to die. I definitely want to revisit these another time with more units and more takes on clowns. What do you, as an esteemed viewer, want me to clown up next? Let me know in the comments, or, like, I don't know, tell me I have 3 days to live or something. I don't know. Peace.